Welcome to Q&A practice. Let's get started with our transcript. It's about, looks like starting a business. Okay, and we will start out with the defense attorney. Here we go. Your Honor, let me just, these numbers are important numbers now. Somewhere along the line, there might be some records. I don't know, but if you don't know the answer, don't guess. I don't know. If you think it is a educated guess and you feel secure enough about it, say it is an educated number, or the guess is. What basis are we talking about? Are we talking about a cost basis on that, to you, or retail value, or what? I always deal in cost, so it would be cost. So you were open for about a little over 3 years. Did you maintain any sales records during that period? Sure. Do you have any idea what your sales were for the, let's just say, period you were open for, the approximately 3 years? Do you have any idea what your sales were? Maybe $400,000. Do you have any idea what the breakdown would have been between drug sales and other sales? No. Never kept records of that? Never had any rule of thumb or any percentage you worked on or anything like that as far as having any knowledge of what the drug countered or the rest of the store? The answer is, I don't remember. Is there a general range that the percentage tends to run in drugstores that you are aware of? Objection, irrelevant and immaterial. With regard to him, he said he doesn't remember. What it may run in other drugstores, it is not relevant here. What was the margin, your gross margin on merchandise? It should run. What was it at Seacliff, or what should it have run? What was it at Seacliff? I never really knew. You don't have any idea what your gross margin was? I think you discussed this with me last time when I said it should be about 30%, but what it was at Seacliff, I don't really know. So you know, it is strictly a, would it be your opinion that the margin at Seacliff was more or less, or the 30% that it should be? Less, more in the range of 20 to 25. If we are talking about a 20 to 25% gross margin, if an item is marked $1 in the store, then the cost price would be 75 to 80% of that. Correct. Seacliff's doors stayed open until the end of August of 1999? Yes. What happened to the inventory when the doors were closed? And when specifically, if you remember, did they close? They closed on or about the last day of August. What was left was thrown in boxes. Most of it was taken to the garage, and some of it was brought to the pharmacy. What garage? There were 2 garages in Huntington Beach where I kept mostly fixtures. Good number practice there. All right, let's get to our firefighter transcript. Excuse me. Okay, start with the plaintiff. Do you remember in what way she was being combative, if you recall? No, I don't know specifically, other than some of these indications that we've just discussed, including her behavior and the fact that she couldn't answer questions. Was there anything else that you observed, or any, I'm not sure if I'm going to word this right, tests that you conducted that would have led you to believe she was under the influence of alcohol? For example, the Pearl tests? No, we don't perform tests to find out if they are under the influence of alcohol. Okay, the Pearl test down here, which is noted about halfway down the page on the left-hand side, pupils, and then beside it, the PERL. Did you conduct that part of the examination? Yes. And what would the purpose of doing that be? To check for some type of brain injury. And based on the results that are noted here, it looks like sluggish left and right was checked off and were at 6 millimeters, her pupils. What would that suggest, if anything, to you as a paramedic? It doesn't suggest anything to me. It's nothing conclusive, just a secondary finding that I found. Okay, and is this something that you do and then it's not normal? No. It is not a normal finding? No. In your experience, could that be attached to the use of alcohol? Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for the witness to speculate, lacks foundation, potentially calls for an expert opinion. If you know, based on your training and experience as a paramedic, calls for an improper lay opinion. Alcohol has, in the past, caused pupils to be sluggish. And the same question with respect to drugs, street drugs, as opposed to any medications. Could they cause the same, or in your experience as a paramedic, have you noticed the same type of response? Same objection as previously noted. Yes, drugs can also cause pupils to be sluggish. Is there anything else that kind of stands out in your mind about this incident that you remember? Objection to the extent it calls for a narrative response as phrased. Nothing that stands out in my mind about the call specifically. Then I just want to go over your PCR report in a little bit more detail. Under the chief complaint, is that a triangle? Yes. And then LOC? Yes. And that stands for altered level of consciousness. And that finding was based upon some of the examinations that you performed on her? Yes. Okay. And I guess we've already covered a little bit of it. Part of that would be that she was only oriented times 1, meaning that what did she know? Who she was? Who she was, yes. Okay, and as to the rest of the questions you asked her in that regard, the time of day, the place, the situation, she wasn't able to respond. Correct? Okay, I'm sorry. No, you're actually doing really well. Just under that, it says history of illness, injury, patient hit by vehicle going approximately 40 miles per hour. Do you know where you got that information with respect to particularly with respect to how fast the vehicle was traveling? My partner got that information. I did not. Do you know where he got that information from? Typically, either a bystander, the person that was in the vehicle told the story, or from the patient is where we find that information. Is it safe to say, in this situation, it wouldn't have come from the patient given her altered level of consciousness? Yes. Do you know whether there were any bystanders or witnesses around at the time that you were rendering your aid to the patient? I don't know. This question probably won't make sense since you don't know, but did you talk to anyone else at the scene other than the other people from the Orange County Fire Authority and possibly the Sheriff's Department and the ambulance? All right, that will conclude our Q&A practice. Thank you.